Hello and welcome to Men of the Den. My name's Eric and it's Friday. This week on Men of the Den, we are talking about our hobbies and teaching people a little bit about them. And today we're going to talk about coin collections. I'm joined on the show today by my friend Ken Papin, who is a coin collector out in Ohio. Say hi, Ken.
Hello.
So, Ken, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm 32. I'm from Cincinnati originally, but I live in Columbus now. Um, I work, I play.
And you are also a coin collector, and you run an Instagram about coin collections as well.
Yes, I do.
So tell us a little bit about tell us a little bit about then about the coin collecting hobby. How did you get into that?
Well, it actually started with my grandfather. Years ago, he would give us coins for certain things, especially at Easter time. We would have like an Easter egg hunt where we would have coins inside these little plastic eggs, and that kind of sparked the interest. It kind of went away for a little while, but once I entered my mid 20s and early 30s, it kind of came back into focus.
So, I mean, coin collecting, I mean, coins, there's like millions and millions of different kinds of them
Oh
out
yeah.
there. So tell us a little bit about what you specifically look for and what you're building a collection of.
Well, right now I'm working more with U.S. coins. Obviously, I'm in the States, so it's the easiest for me to find, whether out and about or even online. It's just a little easier for me to find. And it also helps me build a better picture of history, not only in the States, but what was going on in the world at the time that a specific coin that I have in my collection was minted.
Okay, just so you know, there's a little bit of kind of some glitch happening with the audio. So
Okay.
just to restate, you collect United States coins right now.
Yes, correct.
Okay, cool. Um, you wanna show us a few of them?
Yeah, give me just a sec here. Let me see if I can get myself turned around. There we go. All right. So are you seeing this? Am I doing this right?
Yeah, you are absolutely doing this right. So what are we
Okay.
looking at? Half dollars?
These are actually silver dollars.
Oh, okay.
So this is the Morgan. I'll try to get a little bit of a better, I don't know if it'll focus too well. This is the Morgan dollar. This was turn of the century, 1800s into 1900s, all the way through 1921. This is actually the last year for this. It was replaced by this guy here, the peace dollar, which I actually think is a little bit prettier. I like this little sort of tiara thing that's going on here. And then this is the third and final. This is the last large dollar that the U.S. Mint made. You'll notice these are both the same year, but they're definitely different in appearance. This is a silver one. This one is copper nickel.
Now,
This is the one made for circulation. This is the one made for collecting.
okay. So tell us a little bit about the differences between these ones and what makes the new ones uh, special.
So with newer coins, you can get some collector's editions that are still silver, but for the most part, just for an example, like with the quarters here, these are not silver. You will be hard pressed to find anything silver out in the wild. Actually, this guy here, if it'll focus in, this is silver. This is the last year, 1964, that the US made their coins in silver. After that point, everything was copper nickel. And it keeps going out of focus. I apologize.
No, it looks great. So tell us a little bit about the why we have these changes in like the different metals and stuff. Do you know about that?
Yeah. So what happened is the price of silver. Let me flip this around here uh, so I can actually see. There we go. Sorry about that.
Okay.
So what happened really was the price of silver skyrocketed. And when that happened, it was no longer really something that the U.S. could keep doing to make coins in silver, because you're running into a situation now. That quarter that I just showed you, that's $8 in silver.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's not really to their benefit to continue to make it out of silver when you're taking that much of a loss on it.
So it's not only economical, but it's is there any kind of benefit to it other than the fact that it's not in that metal? Does it last longer, or does it degrade
It
less?
does have a little bit of a more of a durability to it, and silver is a little bit of a softer metal. So through circulation, you'll notice that it wears out a little bit faster. Copper nickel doesn't do it as much, which is why you see a still around, but you don't really see a lot of older silver coins still around.
That's really interesting. So, I mean, there's a lot of differences in like the striking that's on them as well. So, like the
Yeah.
images that's on the quarters and the dollars that you showed are all very different. What kind of drives like the difference in the images?
Well, there's a couple of things. Most of the time, circulation strike or business strike is just, they stamp it once, they send it out. Of course, they make sure that it's not, a mess or an error coin, which that's a whole different animal. We won't go into that. Um, but with a proof coin, that's one that's struck 2 to 3 times. It's a higher quality, a higher relief is what they call it. A little bit prettier. Let me actually flip us around again so I show you, because I've actually got, if I don't drop everything, a proof coin here. If it will focus in, there we go. Lighting issues, I apologize.
That's okay.
So you'll notice that this guy here on the bottom is not nearly as shiny or as pretty as this one here. This is a proof coin, so you'll notice that the background areas are sort of mirrored, and then the raised areas have almost like a icy type of look to them. That's what happens when you strike it twice. Those dies are also polished more, so there's less friction to create a cleaner surface. So they just all around look much, much nicer than your regular circulation strike coins.
Which go through the press like once and then they're done.
Right. Yeah, that's basically just so that they can be out in circulation amongst everybody.
Yeah.
Proof coins, they actually have a pretty long history. Most of the time, that's what you would get. That's what royalty would get if you go back hundreds, if not thousands of years. Those were stamped specifically for royalty, noblemen, that sort of thing, because they were the nicer example.
Oh, of course they were. What else is on your table here?
Well, I've got a little bit of everything. I wasn't sure exactly what we'd be looking at. This right here in the middle are our $half. We've got the Barber, which is named for the gentleman that actually designed it, up here on the upper left. The Walking Liberty is actually my favorite, on the upper right. It's a very beautiful design. They actually still make it in a different denomination now. It's a collector's denomination. I can get into that later, but it's just a very gorgeous design. And then we've got the Ben Franklin $half, which that would actually be the current design today, if it hadn't been for the assassination of JFK. Because what happened is, and I've got 3 of these guys here. In 1964, in December of 1963, they redesigned the $half. If you're following history, in November of 1963 is when JFK was assassinated. December of 63, they redesigned the $half. On the front side, of course, you've got the profile of JFK. On the back, you've actually got, let's see, a modified version of the presidential seal. And then this is literally, it was just to honor him after his assassination, and it continues today. Now, $half aren't still circulated. So the new ones that come out, you have to actually get them direct from the mint. They're a collector item now. They stopped putting them into circulation in 2002.
Fascinating. why do certain coins go out of circulation? I mean, is it just that they're not used as frequently?
It can be that. Also, it's a matter of it's very strange because what happens is um, the mint doesn't get to decide these things. What it comes down to is it's a decision that's made by Congress. Um, so, in order for, like, say, we were all in a tizzy about there not being a 50-cent piece anymore, we would have to actually go through our congressmen, write your congressman, as they say, um, to have that put back into circulation. It's not something the mint can just say, "Hey, we want to do this," and they just say, "Okay."
I saw that you had pennies just underneath of the $half there. A lot of people get pissed off about pennies, but it's also one of the probably the most common things that people start with in a coin collection.
Yeah,
Am I right in that?
yeah. You'll usually see the smaller denominations collected more, not only because they're cheaper to get a hold of, but because they're a lot more plentiful. So you'll see millions of circulated pennies before. So, for instance, in 2016, we might have 250 million pennies minted. But on the same hand, when it comes to quarters, you may only see 500,000. It's just there's numbers that go into that. But yes, they are all also cheaper to collect.
True, true. The metals themselves are cheaper.
Yes, copper, and actually since 1982, they're a thin layer of copper around zinc. Again, for cost-cutting measures, but even that wasn't enough because it still cost 2.5 cents to make a penny.
Which seems like a total waste of money.
Yes, there was talk of converting to aluminum for pennies, or just eliminating them altogether. They did an experimental in 1974. They did an experimental striking of aluminum pennies, which they were all supposed to not leave the mint, but one did. That's a whole another story for a different time. Um, but that's probably one of the things that we may see if they don't eliminate the penny altogether. Um, it'll probably change metals just from the standpoint of it's not cohesive to keep making them at a loss.
Yeah. So, what's like the oldest thing that you have in your collection? Is it on the table right now?
Actually, it is. It is a 2-cent piece from 1864.
I
They
didn't
weren't
even
made
know
for
there
a
was.
very long period of time. Let's see here. Let's see if I can focus in. There we go. 1864. It's basically like a penny, just a little bit bigger. Nice little shield. Some of the details are worn, but this example has actually been cleaned. Normally with copper, you would see a chocolate brown color. This has clearly been cleaned. That's something that you want to avoid as a collector. If it's been cleaned, it's not worth much. These aren't really worth a whole lot to begin with, so it's not a huge deal, and it's a prettier version of the coin to kind of have to show and say, "Hey, look how neat this is." But um, the other side here kind of shows you a little wreath around the 2 cents, and then this guy next to it is actually a 3-cent nickel. Um, yes, before nickels were 5 cents, they were 3 cents. And let me turn this guy around here. You see the Roman numeral 3. Um, but they were 3-cent nickels, and then because at the time the 5-cent piece was called a half dime, and it was actually made of silver.
Wow. Was there ever a $3 bill?
Not a $3 bill, no. $2 bills, $1 bill, but no three.
So, what else? What else you got here? Show us the rest of the table.
So I've got the pennies, as you mentioned a little bit ago. I've just got a couple of examples. The Indian head penny here. And then we've got the front. I just threw one on here so you got an idea of what the front looks like. If you're not someone that's in the U.S. or you're not familiar with what it looks like, And then the different backs, you've got the wheat back, the Lincoln Memorial back, and then the current one is the shield. And then we've also got this example here from 1943. This is the steel cent, and that was from wartime, World War II, when we needed the copper for the war effort. So instead of copper pennies, we had steel pennies that were zinc coated to prevent corrosion.
I did not know that.
Yep, just the 1 year only though. So if it's 1943 and it's copper and it doesn't stick to a magnet, you found something and it's worth a lot of money. They're out there, but they're very, very rare.
So what are we looking at
These
here?
are different examples of nickels. We've got the Liberty Head nickel. This one was turn of the century. Of course, the Buffalo nickel, which a lot of folks are familiar with, and it's so named because the back of the coin, of course, has the buffalo. We've got the regular Jefferson nickel. This guy here actually is 35% silver. Again, it was made during wartime. They needed nickel for the war effort, so they substituted 35% silver in these nickels. And then we've got these guys here. This design was actually only made for 1 year, 2005. This is the Westward Journey Jefferson nickel, which it has a couple of different backs to it. And then the design after that, this is the current design. So if you get a 2016 nickel, it'll look like this. But the Westward Journey nickels, we've got the Louisiana Purchase, Lewis and Clark. Again, a tribute to the Buffalo nickel there. And then Ocean in View. This is the end of the Lewis and Clark journey here.
The Manifest Destiny expansion.
Yeah, Manifest Destiny.
All right, what else do we have here? Dimes.
Let's see here. At the dimes. Again, this is the Barber on the upper left. Again, so named for the person who designed it. And then the Mercury, which is actually the Winged Liberty. It just looked enough like Mercury that it took the name Mercury dime. This is what it would have looked like during wartime. No special anything there, but this is what it would have looked like in the 1940s. Shortly thereafter, it was redesigned with Roosevelt on the front. You'll see that example is a 1964, so that one again is silver. The one next to it is not. It's copper nickel. I just wanted to show you both of those so that you can kind of see the difference in the way that it shines. It also makes a different sound when you drop it on the table. One silver, the other one is not at all.
So with all of these, what do we have here?
Oh, that is a 1984 half dollar. It was propping up my phone so that it wasn't aimed too high.
Oh.
The only other thing that I have here, really, that I wanted to show, these are your small dollars. Angle that's not so shiny. The one on the top there. One on the top there is Susan B. Anthony. That was made between 1979 and 1981, and then again in 1999. They reissued it in 1999 in anticipation of what you see on the bottom left, the Sacagawea dollar. That one is still in production, the Sacagawea dollar. It's not very popular. As a matter of fact, since 2011, it's only been available for collectors. It's not put into circulation.
And who's on the right?
And then
who's on the right?
That would be JFK from the presidential coin collection. That just ended this year. Every president who's no longer with us has their own dollar coin. So literally everybody except for Carter, both the Bushes, Clinton, and Obama. There's a coin out there for everybody else. But again, that one since 2011 has been for collectors only, just because they're not very popular.
Huh. Now, I know that we went through this whole phase a while back with the different quarterbacks, like with the 50 state project. Um, there was a
Yes.
whole big bunch of stuff that was issued then. Like, does that happen like all the time? Like, you talked about this presidential thing. I mean, there's like 40 some of those. So
Yeah. So what they did is initially that was 50 states, and then after that they started it on territories. So U.S. Virgin Islands, District of Columbia, they're all represented in that collection. And then after the territories were exhausted, they actually switched to um, America the Beautiful, which is state parks and landmarks. That is going to get us through 2020, and then after that, we don't know.
So, I mean, just to think about like the future here. So, is as we move into like the land of plastic, like what's the future of physical money? Like, and I mean, obviously for collector, this is super awesome because everything becomes less and less printed. But what's the future of actual coinage?
Um, with coinage, it probably will last a lot longer than we think it will. Just from the standpoint of the durability factor. I would say, honestly, as odd as it sounds, we'll probably see paper money go away before we see coins go away.
That's fascinating. And why would you say that particularly?
Not only the longevity of the item itself, a dollar bill has a life cycle of about 16 months. Um, Coins have been around since the beginning of our country, of course, but they've been around for literally thousands of years. You can see uh, it goes back pre-Roman Empire. It goes back a long, long time. Um, it's a fallback. Um, what it used to be is that every dollar that you had was based in either silver or gold. That's again why they were made out of those materials until the prices skyrocketed. Um, it's not really so much the case anymore. That's why you see the copper nickel because those metals are about the value of the coin itself. Um, that really is what will probably keep them around for longer, just from the standpoint of those metals are actually worth that denomination as a hard thing. So if for some odd reason, the apocalypse theories, if the world should come to an end and you say, hey, I've got this silver dollar that weighs X amount of grams, I can still get wheat or grain or meat or whatever it is for my family with that because it still has a metallic value to it. Paper money doesn't.
That makes sense. That makes sense in the long run. So, if someone's interested in getting into coin collection as a hobby, like where can they turn? Like, what can they read, or where can they go online?
So, as with everything else online, if you're collecting something, eBay is your friend. You do need to be very careful, though, because there are fakes out there. There are people that will try to scam you and say that something's rare when it's not. Um, that is why, actually, there's a book here. This guy is literally called the Red Book, the official Red Book. This gives you a rough price guide. I wouldn't say that it's set in stone or anything like that. It just gives you a rough price guide as to what you should be paying for a certain coin. Um, so eBay, there are always places like flea markets. Flea markets are definitely a good one, but again, you need to be careful with pricing. Um, Coin shops, those sketchy places that say they buy and sell gold and silver, they will most likely sell you coins. And they're pretty much not usually sketchy when it comes to those. So you're pretty much safe there. Um, and good old fashioned roll hunting. So go to the bank, get $50 in pennies, crack open the rolls, and start looking. That's free basically because whatever you don't use, you can send right back to the bank.
And what kind of places should people go to try to find out, like research wise? You mentioned the Red Book. Is there like I'm sure there's a professional society or something that
Yeah.
has info.
The American Numismatic Association, for those of us here in the States, they do have worldwide members as well. Um, but they actually are pretty comprehensive with like their magazines. That's called the Numismatist, and I don't have one here, but um, they give you a list of businesses, places that are reputable, that are certified by them, that you can go to either shop coins or to sell your old coins, that sort of thing. A little bit of a safe haven. You've got the backing of the American Numismatic Association to kind of go along with that, and it's kind of like being if you're a car guy, it's kind of like going to a Ford certified center instead of going to the local mechanic. You know that you're going to get
Awesome.
something good. You know that the pricing is going to be on point, and all of that.
Great. Well, Ken, thank you so much for being a part of the show today. I really appreciate your time. Where can people find you online?
Uh, I'm on Facebook. If you're interested in the coin and collecting hobby, I'm on Instagram at Ohio Coin Guy. Facebook, I would actually honestly have to look up the link. I said it so long ago, I don't remember what it is. But I'm friends with you, so if they're friends with you, they'll find me.
Awesome. I will make sure to put a link to your Instagram down in the video description and a link to the books and websites that we discussed on the show today.
Okay.
Thank you again for being a part of the show. And thank you, viewers out there. I've seen we've had a few people watching the show for watching. And I will be back next Friday. And have a great weekend. Cheers.